So there's been this huge debate that's begun to storm up over the internet over the course of the last 24 hours around the idea of review scores and what exactly is worth $60. And I find all this very, very fascinating because it's heavily centered on Days Gone. Because, of course, on Thursday morning, they started to get the first real reviews coming out, and they weren't exactly overwhelmingly positive. But still, it seems like fans are absolutely loving it. The people who are actually buying the game and playing it, just random gamers, are having a blast. And so because of it, now there's this sort of battlefield between professional reviewers, people at freaking places like IGN, and just the average person with a controller in their hand. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and I wanted to talk about this today because I think that it's very, very interesting that people are basically saying good games need to have high scores, decent games should have high scores, and it seems like anything that has a low score is absolute garbage, and I feel like this isn't exactly the case. So what I decided to do is actually go to Metacritic and look at a bunch of different stuff from this year that happened to get 60s and 70s. Things that are not exactly a super low score, but are a barely passing grade. It's kind of shocking when you really see some of the stuff that just kind of scraped past. Like, seriously, games like Dragon's Dogma and Final Fantasy IX on Switch both actually came in at the mid-70s. Or even some stuff that I personally absolutely loved, like World War Z, was actually overall panned by a lot of reviewers. And it sort of created this weird impression of the idea of gamers versus gaming websites. I've seen a lot of people actually sort of propagating the idea that people who review games aren't real gamers. And I just want to say that I think it goes beyond this. I think what's really going on is the fact that people are beginning to really kind of realize that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what score a game gets as long as you enjoy it. So, I mean, something that's just a personal example from my own house is the fact that, so right now, me and my girlfriend, we've just been playing a bunch of random stuff. They've been doing all sorts of different, like, eShop sales on Switch and on PS4 lately, and randomly my fiance actually bought a little game that was, babe, let me see what that was. So yeah, it's called Cat Quest, and it's basically like Diablo with cats.
Yeah, it's even got cool little hats.
Cool little hats. See, look, that's so great. Well, what if I told you it actually got like a 72 on Metacritic?
I don't give a fuck.
See, exactly. And that's the thing, is like, you know, people don't care. If you enjoy a game, it doesn't matter what score it gets. Thanks, babe. Throughout this console generation, I feel like we're starting to see this really, really big rise of the idea of Metacritic and people actually becoming very, very fixated on ratings. And I think that what I want to try and do is basically hope that we get past that. Now, I even say this as somebody who actually makes most of his money online by doing reviews. I mean, just full disclosure, those are actually the things that get the most views, they have the most watch time, and to me, they're the most fun to create because obviously I'm just playing games. It's absolutely a blast. And so it's very, very fascinating from the outside to review a game and put it up, and then sometimes people just end up completely downvote bombing one of my videos because they disagree with the score. And I'll be honest, I actually don't mind this. There are some YouTubers who, well, they get a little bit whiny about the idea of getting downvote bombed because they feel like it's people raging against me or, oh my god, this is censorship. When in actuality, I feel like it's people just, they're basically just voting against you. They're saying, hey, I respectfully disagree. And right now, people are respectfully disagreeing with my Days Gone review. I'm totally fine with that. It's a game that I thought had some interesting ideas to it, but to me, it's just not spectacular. It's good, but not great. And I feel like what really needs to happen here is people need to acknowledge the fact that a game that is decent is not trash. One of the most interesting aspects about the fact of the modern day gamer is the fact that for the first time ever, we are just flooded with options. There are just literally so many hundreds and hundreds of games coming out every single year now that a lot of people just refuse to play stuff that isn't magnificent. I mean, I have actually seen people tweet stuff like, if something's not a 10 out of 10 like the Resident Evil 2 remake or God of War, I absolutely will not play it. And unfortunately, I do feel like this sentiment is beginning to spread. People are becoming so freaking obsessed with the idea of it's either a a masterpiece or hot garbage. Not everything is perfect or a dumpster fire. I feel like there used to be this phrase back in the day, which is double A, about the fact that there were games that were super, super good and low budget, and we kind of admired them for that. Something that immediately comes to mind when I even picture this concept is something like Catherine. Like, this was obviously made by Atlas and is sort of a weird controversial game now, but it wasn't terribly high budget. It was actually kind of a weird little indie darling for a bit. I mean, yes, the Atlas is a decent-sized company and this was a decent-sized project, but this isn't the freaking Witcher. This isn't Call of Duty. It is a game that's just trying to trip you out and ask hard questions. And I feel like if you release this today, it's probably not going to get the best review scores. There's actually the remake of this coming up soon called Full Body Edition, and I guarantee you that's going to get 70s and people are still going to buy the heck out of it. It's probably going to sell 1 million copies even though it doesn't get a 10 out of 10. So basically what I'm trying to say is I feel like in this age of hyperbole where everybody is fixated on the highest highs and the lowest lows, there is room in the middle. There is always space for the games that aren't exactly spectacular but are still special. I mean, something that's very interesting to me is that I made a couple of videos talking about Anthem. After I initially reviewed it, I was actually very invested in the idea of it getting improved, about the content roadmap, about the fact that over time this will actually find a way to become a little bit better incrementally. And what's kind of funny is that a lot of the Anthem community got flat out angry that I kept covering its flaws, talking about glitches, talking about updates, talking about it actually breaking some PS4s. And what's kind of funny to me is the fact that these are not attacks. This is not me trying to say that the game is terrible. This is not me saying you should not have fun. This is simply me saying that from an objective standpoint, the game is not the best. This is one of the reasons that, personally, I'm actually a really big fan of smaller YouTubers who just make the reviews they like, because a lot of times they'll highlight less popular opinions. And additionally, I really like actually visiting a lot of gaming forums, because a lot of times I think it's interesting to watch people playing through the game discuss quests they're stuck on, or just storyline elements they don't like, or maybe just something about how they're, angry about a certain character's stupid outfit or something. I feel like that is actually really very much highlighting current gaming. A lot of times people now, they want to become invested in, all sorts of stuff. The culture of the game, the life of the game, the community of the game, and all of that is such a big part of it now. Now, in the age of social media, people don't just want to play a game, they want to live the game. They want to actually make memes of it. They want to actually, rip into the flaws of it. All of that are different aspects that are just as admirable and interesting of current games. So what I'm basically saying is there are a lot of people right now making really big videos saying like Days Gone is a masterpiece and everyone who reviewed it doesn't understand it. I've even seen some conspiracy theory videos going around about something like GameSpot didn't actually beat the game and they didn't understand the story and stuff like that. And I think that what's really going on here is just the fact that there are differences of opinion, and that's okay. I guarantee it, there are people all the time who tell me Shenmue sucks. I mean, straight up, I have at least a couple of people a day who just tweet me that Shenmue is boring garbage. Now, obviously, I disagree because I own tons and tons of Shenmue collectibles and Shenmue merch, and I forgot I was even wearing a Shenmue shirt right now. And people are always telling me, Shenmue 3 looks like dirt. You shouldn't even be hyped for it. And what's funny is, it's just a difference of opinion. Yeah, those people are being aggressive jerks about it, but at the end of the day, they're still just trying to voice their point. Everybody has different flavors. I mean, I guarantee you, when Shenmue 3 comes out, it's not going to be getting 10s out of 10s, and that's okay with me. I think that more people need to be understanding and accepting of alternate viewpoints. Not everybody needs to agree. Not every game needs a 100 on Metacritic just because you had fun with it. Basically what I'm saying is we all have our favorite hidden gems. And I do think that Days Gone is going to become one of those. I think it's going to be one of those things that people are going to look back on years from now and actually have a blast with. Yeah, it doesn't have the crazy good story, and yeah, the fact that your bike breaks every 45 minutes is a little bit of an annoyance, but still, it is a game that is trying to be an original way, and for that, I do think that it'll be admired in the long run. But what do you think of it? Are you somebody who's actually very, very for the idea of games games that are a little bit less rated, or are you somebody who's just absolutely fixated on the top scores for the top games? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me just say, there are a lot of games that I'm personally obsessed with that didn't exactly get the best ratings. Like Evil Within 2, obviously I'm obsessed with. Evil Within 1 was a huge game. I mean, look at the fact that Final Fantasy XIV totally bombed for a long time, and now I think it's a masterpiece. Games improve, games change, and no matter what, your opinion at the end of the day is all that matters to you. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Ooh, man, this is a fun one to film, and I'm sure the comment section is going to be absolutely delightful. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.